Is Bryce Hall's roster spot in trouble? We're going to get into it today. What is going on, guys? Matt O'Leary here with another video. We are getting into Bryce Huff's roster spot and if the recent addition of Javelin Guidry is going to make that any more difficult for Bryce Huff to make this team. Make sure to follow along with me on social media and make sure to subscribe and call into the Just Jets podcast to have any of your questions answered. So good news, Jets legend Javelin Guidry is back. He spent 2 years with the Jets in 2020 and 2021. He played over 650 snaps for them in those 2 years. Last year, he was with the Vegas Raiders and played a grand total of 18 snaps. Did not have a very big role with Vegas, but did play under Robert Saleh in 2021 and played a pretty significant role on a, well, not so great defense. But the question that I've seen asked a lot after this is, does this mean that Bryce Hall is in trouble? Bryce Hall is a very interesting case study because he was a starter for the New York Jets in 2020 and 2021. This past year, did not really play a whole lot. Obviously, they draft Sauce Gardner, they bring in DJ Reed, and this staff, pretty much since 2021, since the addition of Brandon Echols, they really like Echols. So Echols is the first backup cornerback to come in off the bench if anything was to happen to either Sauce Gardner or DJ Reed. But with the addition of Javelin Guidry, as of now, a rough outlook of what the corner room looks like. Sauce, DJ Reed, Michael Carter, Brandon Echols, Bryce Hall, Justin Hardy, Javelin Guidry, Craig James, and you could also, I guess, kind of put Jarek Bernard-Converse in there because he played corner, but he is probably going to be more of a safety at the next level. This is a tough one because in theory, like I get it, right? Like why Bryce Hall could be in trouble if they really like Javelin Guidry, because Hall, for whatever reason, has kind of taken a step back in the Jets' eyes. He was, again, a starter for them for 2 years in 2020 and 2021. And then last year, the little that he did play, like he played against the Falcons in the preseason and got absolutely cooked. He was toasted in that game. And then he gave up a touchdown in the first game of the year, and we basically did not see him ever again. I think there was a portion of Jet fans that overrated him a little bit and was like, oh, he's definitely a cornerback one. And then now I think you have people that underrate him and think like he's not someone who could even hold a roster spot on an NFL team. It's kind of crazy. I think, at a minimum, he's a very good backup outside corner, and I think he can be a number 2 corner. I happen to like Bryce Hall, but more of the story is probably not going to be much of a role for him if he's, here this year. It'll probably be his last year with the New York Jets, as he would be a free agent after this upcoming season. But with Javelin Guidry, like he pretty much only plays in the slot. So they play 2 different positions. Yes, they are both cornerbacks, but they play 2 different positions. So if you were to keep Javelin Guidry, that would mean that you probably would only have Brandon Echols as your true backup outside corner. And if you're willing to take that risk on surviving with it, then I guess that's what you're willing and going to do. Because as of last year, it was both Echols and Hall. And you have, Michael Carter now, but Guidry would be the backup to Michael Carter. It's interesting. Although I think if I had to bet on it, I'm going to say it doesn't impact Bryce Hall. I don't think Javelin Guidry makes this roster because the guy that I think you could end up using instead is Jarek Bernard-Converse, who's really, again, they're going to probably try to move him to safety, but he has had a ton of experience, especially early on in his college career when he was at Oklahoma State before transferring to LSU. He played a ton in the slot, but over the last couple of years, he played outside. So maybe you can make the case that Bryce Hall would be the odd man out. I would say no, but it is again an interesting conversation that's worth having because, for whatever reason, it feels like that he's fallen out of favor with this Jets coaching staff, which is fine. I guess he wasn't here for the initial, draft. Robert Saleh wasn't here for when he was drafted in 2020. And, a lot of those guys from the 2020 class are, not necessarily in lockstep with this new regime. We'll see if that changes this year, but I just thought that was interesting. I think probably Javelin Guidry is going to have a tough time making this team. They're not going to carry a ton of cornerbacks outside their top 4. Hardy is guaranteed a spot because of his special teams ability, so that's 5 right there. Maybe carry 1 more. I don't think you go beyond 6 though, so we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on this down below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you next time.